So just got off a call where they talked about 40 plus changes coming to Warzone, and nearly everything sounds amazing. It's almost too good to be true. I know I put out a video earlier, but there wasn't very much Warzone or zombies content in that. So the call we had today, I did focus on some of the multiplayer stuff that I talked about in the video, but this video is specifically going to be for Warzone. And there's a lot of new stuff that they told us about. For example, the player count will be 100, and then they went on to emphasize that their goal is a faster paced battle royale with improved mid-game engagement, because they said that right now you kind of have engagements right when you land with the strongholds and all that stuff that we had, even though those have been changed. We had patch notes that kind of broke that down, but that's been changed. And then also the end game being pretty hectic where everyone kind of meets up in the end, but that middle game being kind of dry. So their goal is to kind of improve that aspect, and they weren't opposed to upping the player count. The reality is you kind of just got to try it and play it for yourself. I know a lot of people are already writing it off for 100 players as being slow, but a couple different things that they mentioned is that the map size is 20% smaller than MWIII. So if that already has 100 now and that kind of plays okay, with the 20% less smaller, maybe 100 will play fine, on top of the new circle timings. And this is a huge deal because when we played Verdansk, it was about 25 minutes per match. Caldera was closer to 28. MWIII around 28, even with the time cuts, maybe 26. Blackout back in the day was like 21 minutes, and these matches are supposed to come in at 20 minutes. So the pacing is going to be much faster, less time looting, more time engagements, and the matches are over a little bit quicker. I think that's a W on the timings. I always felt like the game should go faster. If you're going to be spectating, you should be spectating less, and 20 minutes kind of cuts down on that time. Unsuppressed red dots will also speed this up, because if you're stuck with floor loot or running a non-suppressor build, you're going to pop up on the minimap, so people will be chasing those red dots. The big game bounty is back, so people will be chasing that in addition to the regular bounties, so I think that's huge. And you get an advanced UAV right off the bat, but you also get a free UAV ping right off the bat when it's completed. So it'll do one UAV pass, and then you'll have an advanced UAV to use. So that should be pretty good. And then there's more second chance mechanics. There's a gulag public event where it's go again. So going into your gulag, you know that even if you lose that gulag, you're gonna have a chance at another gulag immediately. So there's gonna be more lives to be going around, and that should help out. The stability and performance of the game remains a priority, but they also said that that wasn't a determining factor in the 100 player count. So they could go up to 120, they could go up to 150. They're just trying to solve the other things that I mentioned earlier with the mid game and the pacing. So we'll see it. Play it on Wednesday before you make a 100% determining factor, but I know that's hard for people to do. They've already kind of written off 100 players too slow, even though everything else is kind of built around the 100 player count. We'll kind of see how it goes. Maybe they'll up it to 120 at some point. Time to action remains one of the most critical metrics, and does the ability for players to create personal records. And that's more about, are people still able to get 20 kill games with regularity, especially on the top end, maybe some 30, 40 kill games, or world records somewhere around 40 plus. If that's possible, then the pacing is still probably fine, but we're going to kind of figure that part out. But if, like, let's say the average like high kill game or the world record sets in like 25, there's probably a problem with pacing, and they have no problem changing it up. As a reminder, all squad sizes will be available from day one and all season long, with solos, duos, trios, and quads for battle royale. So regardless of the player count, you'll have access to all of those the entire season, which is basically guaranteed 2 months. You're going to have all of those. A big question I was asked quite a bit in the comment section is combat records and stats and leaderboards. Pretty much the stats in the combat record will be rolling out in phases. So season 1, you'll get battle royale stats right away. Season 2 will be resurgence. Season 3 will be plunder, I know, which is kind of a ways out, but all the stats will be tracked from day one. So they're not going to do that weird reset season 1 nonsense, season 2 nonsense that we did last year. So pretty much all of the stats that you're earning, even though you won't necessarily be able to see them in a combat record or a leaderboard, they will be tracking from day one. So if you're going for wins, kills, whatever, in resurgence or even plunder, you're going to have access to those stats when those seasons drop, and then you'll be able to see all your stats from day one of the update, which is a nice change that they're transparent about, an improvement fix from that issue, because that was a huge problem. And then there was this slide where there was quality of life changes, and there's like 40 of them on this list. And you know, there's different things. Like it says legendary supply box guitar riff celebration is back. The OG loadout crate model has returned. Allied loadout crates now have an in-game world highlight. Gas mask is now the first item in the loadout UI. And this is in combination with being able to put it on and off because they want to make that a little bit more seamless, less button inputs, but it does still take a backpack spot. Gulag entry kits now can be stowed in the backpack for a teammate. Before you'd be like, hey, I got one over here, you can come grab it. You could stow it for your teammate. Increase Gulag entry kit drop rate in loot so that people are able to get those more frequently and the lobby stays alive longer, particularly for that mid game. And this one's huge, this next one, because especially when it comes to a lot of people saying, hey, how did they know they were tracking me through the wall? You can actually see enemy live pings in kill cams now. So if they got pinged and you were actually seen because you had a live ping or with the new perk that will live ping you, that will be visible. So that should help, at least just with awareness of watching those kill cams and knowing what information they had. I don't know if that means they'll have the UAV stuff on the minimap as well, but that could be huge. One-shot snipers returned, and I think this will just be the snipers that you expect to one-shot snipe. They're a little bit slower. The bullet velocity won't be dependent on using the specific ammo that trashes the gun and you got to have explode. No, it's going to be normal. These ones hit one-shot headshot. These ones don't. And then you build your gun according to that. No weapon tuning in the gunsmith. So that's been confirmed. Now that's gone. Even though I mentioned in my video, they do have plans to try and incorporate at least the optic close and far. That should be added back. We also got the post-victory gulag looting. What this means is normally in the gulag now, the second it's over, you freeze and it's done. It loads you and you get kicked back into the sky. Now you'll have a little bit of like a couple seconds after you win to go ahead and kind of loot. Maybe if you want to pick up some lethals or, you know, lethals or tacticals, maybe you see a floor loot gun you want to grab, maybe armor plates or cash, you'll be able to have a quick second to loot. So that's cool. Buy stations are now accessible 30 meters into the gas, and that's more fixed. I think before it was like 10 or 16 meters or something like that where it would close. So now you get up to 30 minutes. Maybe if you wanted to make a little bit of a longer rotation, buy a gas mask, then work your way in, you'll be able to do that. Buy stations show on the tac map if they're accessible. Before you can kind of see it, oh, is it going to be usable? And then it would close, but the icon was still, it would show that now there's going to be a distinction so you know when a buy station is usable. And that's another huge W. Buy station inventory. So I guess they've updated the inventory. They didn't get to explain all these because there's so many and they kind of read through these in under a minute. So it was pretty fast. Slide distance now impacted by surface incline. So I would imagine that if you're sliding down a hill, you'll probably slide farther and faster. That one's going to be interesting. Fire sale discount now up to 50% off. Smoke grenade duration has been nerfed by 20%. So they kind of nerfed those. Maybe that'll encourage people to use other things, especially with movement essentially being back. Portal radar distance is doubled up to 76 meters. That'll probably need to get tuned because that's pretty far, but that is powerful, especially since it is a field upgrade. Ammo box and munitions no longer have a delay when deployed. So you just throw them in, boom. Fast. I mean, that's such an annoying one that we had to deal with forever. Reduced loadout cost to 15K for quads, and then for the other various modes, it'll be less, so it scales based off squad size. MWIII operators have a new default parachute. Abandoning the stronghold will neutralize it. So what that means is that if you're sitting at the stronghold, like you do now, after you've captured it, even though they're random, they're not every match. If you happen to be in a match where they have strongholds, you land on one, you capture it, you get the UAV ping. If you leave the area, it'll automatically neutralize and you no longer have the UAV ping. So either you're gonna be there camping it and then people will know you're there because you still have it, or you'll leave and then somebody else can grab it, capture it, loot it, and get the opportunity to take that over. So you got a couple different things there, which I think could mix up a little bit of the gameplay, and you'll kind of know where people are, because if they're at those, 100% a player has to be there if it's pinging out, and you can see that on the map. So that's pretty cool. Gas mask overlay has been adjusted for clearer view. So right around the edge, obviously it's gonna equip by default. I think they're making it so that it's less obtrusive, so you could just wear it and it'll be a non-issue in terms of visibility, but we'll have to see what that looks like in game. Plate carriers are now 1-to-1 in function as their perk, which they should have done in Warzone 2, but they didn't. So what that means is when you get the stealth vest, it's gonna work like Ghost, which now requires you to run while moving. We have the comms one, which essentially works like bird's eye. So those are what they mean when they mean 1-to-1. Essentially, you're picking up a perk that you would already have equipped from your loadout, but it gives you versatility. If you get stealth vest, then you can get a different loadout with maybe bird's eye, or if you get bird's eye vest, then you can get another loadout with Ghost or something along those lines. At least that's kind of how the meta works. Stealth vest no longer counters an advanced UAV, so it'll work exactly like Ghost. Redeploy drones only move when they are deep in the gas. Before, they would just kind of move at a kind of random interval, it felt like, when it hit the gas. Now they're going to be deep within the gas, so you can still make that play and rotate out and then know that, all right, cool, now it's moving, it's good. It gives you ample time to grab that, so you're not really relying on it. And then as you're running to it, the rope zips up. You should be pretty clear on that end. Increased redeploy drone catapult distance, so you'll be able to get around the map that much faster. So you're gonna balloon up, boom, take it out. I know I say balloon, but the drones, you take it up, it'll launch you higher, further, and you'll be able to navigate around the map that much easier. And that will help, combined with, I think, the thing I just said with the gas, where you can go ahead and take that and then go ahead and launch. Less extreme default circles. Not really sure what that means. Maybe that means like on the sides. I don't know exactly what that's going to mean, but that's a quality of life improvement. Low health visual overlay is more transparent for better visibility. So that's when you get shot and then your screen goes all red and you kind of hard to see. The transparency of that is lower, so you can actually see still. You'll still notice you got hit with hit markers and the red, but not quite as much. And the low health visual overlay starts at a lower health. So before, it might have been when you're below 70% health or 50% health. Now it's going to be a lower number, whatever that number was. Spawn protection time decreased to 2.5 seconds from 10 seconds. So there is still going to be spawn protection, but it's really enough for you to load in, find out where you're going, and then you got to fly there. 2.5 seconds is pretty quick. You may not even notice it by the time you've spotted the person. Realistically, maybe on a buyback, by the time you spotted them, their spawn protection is nearly gone. Reduce the slowdown when landing from a jump. This is terrible. A lot of times when you have that sluggish slowdown when you fall off something, that's going to help improve that area. More contracts available in the late game. A lot of times they weren't populating quite as often. Scavenger contract is back and awards guaranteed plate carrier. Intel contracts capture can be sped up by multiple squads being present, and this is a huge one because this is a lot like the recons that we had in Warzone 1, where if you had 3 teammates, 4 teammates stack on it, you can do one in like 12-15 seconds. Now you'll also be able to do that with the computer ones that they have now. Most wanted contract now awards a guaranteed gulag entry kit in the supply box. That is huge. Once you do the most wanted, then it drops the little supply box. You run over there, you're going to get a gulag token. So this could be an opportunity to bring your teammate back, but then also get you a gulag token, and maybe even solos. You can hold an area if you want an opportunity at gulag. Maybe you're having a really good match in case you just get shot in the back or something like that. Score events in game are now yellow text. Input delay when getting a vehicle to accelerate has been reduced by 50%. So that's a huge change for vehicles, because terrible right now. It's super sluggish. And that was a lot of the quality of life stuff, but there's more intentions to know. So there's bugs or imbalance. There might be bugs or balancing outliers at launch. Obviously, they changed a ton, so I kind of expect that. And we will fix them. They're committed to that. Continued quality of life improvements. 150 plus carry forward quality of lives from Year of Warzone, with more than 30 new tracked Season 1 improvements, which we saw, and then continued to focus on pacing. Changes will be made if necessary based on time to action data in Season 1. Updated weapon metas. We will keep the weapon meta healthy throughout the year. Thank you. 100-day RPK meta. Man, that was an issue. Oh my God, that was terrible. And they'll include tacticals and lethals to get those buffs and nerfs as needed. Weapon loadouts, map variants, or new public events. Their goal is to keep the gulag engaging. And finally, the return of Fortune's Keep and Rebirth Island in 2024. So a lot of huge details there. Let me know what you're most interested in. Obviously, we don't have any B-roll because we don't have gameplay until Wednesday, but we'll kind of see how it goes. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.